Well, it all started when the Baldwin County Cattle and Fair Association ran out of space over in the middle of Robertsdale. We either had to quit or we had to move to a new location because we just run out of space. Back in 1948, the original board of directors of Cattle and Fair started the fair there. We're the oldest county fair in the same location, state of Alabama, and we just ran out of space, and we either had to quit, stop, not do it anymore, or move to a new location. And it was a decision of the board to move to a new location, and I was chairman of the building committee. And then I became, as a result of our fair manager retiring, and I became the fair manager. On our fair manager's watch, Ms. Joyce Ellison was instrumental in getting us into a 501(c). We were always a not-for-profit, but she got us into a 501(c) designation from the IRS, and that's what put us in the driver's seat to receive public funding.
I got started with this dream in 2005 after Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. It was a dream that wasn't even my own, but I got caught up in it with the group for the Cattle and Fair Association. This dream was to build a safe place for residents to seek shelter in the time of after the time of a storm. Now we realize that emergency centers are needed for more than hurricanes. In August of 2005, on very short notice, the Cattle and Fair Association was notified that there was a need for shelter for 190 residents from the Gulf Coast that had been displaced by Hurricane Katrina. Within hours, we had prepared for these residents who were being transported from just across the Alabama line, Moss Point, Mississippi, all the way to the New Orleans area. Local churches prepared food because the facilities of the kitchen were very limited, and buses brought 190 people, and within hours the floor of this old Coliseum was covered with residents sleeping on borrowed blankets. They were they really weren't sure where they were and where they were going, but we offered a place of shelter for them after the storm. Many people were confused. They left their medicine at home. We had to set up an immediate triage center. Volunteers came in with many of the supplies. Diapers was one of the first things that we had to seek from the community. And thereafter it was a constant flow of people coming by to bring food, linens. The phone was ringing constantly wanting to know what we could do for these people. In providing the shelter for the Katrina evacuees, we learned of many things that we would need to incorporate in a new facility. And many of these ideas were developed and carried out in the building that we have today. We built the building for future generations to use. We wanted a building that would be timeless in design, something that would be would accommodate large groups of people from all walks of life. Our dream was actually brought into actualization by a combination of stakeholders from various agencies in our community. It was a coordinated effort that each person had an integral part that was necessary for a culmination of the building that you see here today.
After Hurricane Ivan hit the Gulf Coast, Mr. Sonny Hankins with the Baldwin County Cattle and Fair Association contacted the Alabama Emergency Management Agency to see if there were any grant funds available to build a safe room for the citizens of Baldwin County and surrounding areas. The magnitude of this project is much greater than any one that we have ever completed within the state of Alabama. Generally, a safe room that a mitigation grant funds is generally it will hold about 100 occupants and less than $100,000. This, of course, is a 44,000 square foot building, and it will house roughly 2,000 people in the event of a hurricane. So the magnitude of this project, it just shows that how the collaboration between local, state, and federal government, what a wonderful thing can come to fruition. The process to get this started, Mr. Hankins, of course, contacted us, and we took it to FEMA, and once we made our case to FEMA, they came on board, and the Baldwin County Cattle and Fair Association, along with the Baldwin County Commission, we all came together, and it's a perfect example of how government can work together and bring a wonderful thing for the citizens of not only Baldwin County, but Alabama and the surrounding areas.
When I started thinking about building a facility, we had two hurricanes, Hurricane Ivan and Katrina, and I realized then that we did not need to build something that couldn't be used for a shelter if we needed to in Baldwin County, in light of the fact that we had had some 200 to 300 that had used the old Coliseum in Robertsdale for a period of time as a result of Hurricane Katrina. And with that experience and that in mind, I started about putting together plans whereby we could get funding and build what you see out here now. And we started out, and with help of the state EMA office and FEMA, Federal Emergency Management, along with Baldwin County, the Cattle and Fair Association was able to put together, and we received approximately $8 million grant from FEMA. When we received the grant, I went to the county commission, and they wholeheartedly agreed to help us fund our 25% match money that went with that, because they were mandated to build some type of shelter, and Baldwin County needed it so bad. I'm proud of this facility. I put into it everything that I learned in the last 25 years, going from Wilmington, North Carolina, to Miami, Florida, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, different shelters that I'd been in across the country, and we tried to incorporate as much of that here as we could. And so when we started building it, then we also built the 220 by 360 foot arena out back, and it was through USDA, and that was for our fair association and different things that we could put on out there. We were fortunate enough to get our funding from FEMA and the help from the county. Had it not been for Baldwin County Commission, it all started really with Mayor Frances Stewart, who was cut short on her term through an accident, and then the people that followed her, the existing commission, Mr. Gruber, Mr. Bishop, Mr. Grinlow, and Mr. Burt, they have worked tirelessly with the Cattle and Fair Association and its directors to put together the what you see here, this project here. And as a result of that, we've got what we got. I never would have dreamed that this facility would be used for the National Guard to use for an engineering disaster. We all contemplated that it would be a natural disaster, a hurricane of some type. But I knew that with all the chemicals that being used that travels in Baldwin County, that there was a possibility that sometime or other we may have had a small disaster, maybe with a train wreck in North Baldwin or a truck turning over or something like that, but never in the magnitude that you see here now. And with the EMA contacting me through the Baldwin County EMA Emergency Management, Ms. Leanne Riles, she worked tirelessly with us, and they came through and got the National Guard here, and they looked over the facility, and so we made an arrangement for them to be here to help us in the Gulf.
On June 3rd, the governor, after meeting with elected officials from both Baldwin and Mobile County, wanted the state to get more involved with the claims process dealing with BP. At the time, we had 6,500 claims in the system. The governor turned to EMA and wanted a stronger state presence and asked that EMA and myself head up the operations portion of it. He appointed Jim Walker, his Director of Homeland Security, to be the lead cabinet member in regards to claims process. In doing so, I got permission from the governor to activate the Alabama National Guard. We began that planning that night with members of the Alabama National Guard out of Montgomery. On June 5th, we had authorization for 200 National Guardsmen to include their command and control element. On June the 6th, we began populating the Baldwin County Coliseum as our command post. We started initially with a arrival of 15 soldiers. By that evening and early Monday morning, we had 202 soldiers on the ground here at the Coliseum. Our mission was to go out, work with local governments, with their businesses and our Alabama citizens to gain and have them gain knowledge of the BP process, from simple fact sheets to actually sitting down with individuals to explain what paperwork, what documentation is needed or will be needed in the claims process. We were able to work with BP to simplify some of their documentation. BP also provided training to our soldiers and EMA staff. I have about 19 of the EMA professionals out of Clanton down here as well as kind of the team leaders. We developed the Alabama Claims Action Team is the title of our teams, and they're basically broken down to 10 soldiers and 1 EMA representative per team. Our mission has been very successful thus far. We have visited over 2,000 businesses and spoke with over 2,000 individuals. Our claims have risen from 6,500 at the beginning of the mission to over 17,000 to date, with $22 million paid out to Alabama citizens as a result of the BP disaster. So we feel like we've met our objectives in the mission. We feel like we've met the governor's intent. We could not do this without the logistical support of both Baldwin County EMA and Mr. Sonny Hankins, who is the president here of the Fair Association, and pretty much runs the building, the facility we're in. This facility is a dual-purpose facility, as you know. It also serves as a hurricane shelter. It can withstand Category 5 hurricanes, one of its only kind on the coast, and we're proud to have it in Alabama. It can house about 5,000 citizens in a time of disaster. So we hope we never use it for that, but it is here. It is a tool in our toolbox for our hurricane preparations. So as we move forward in the claims process, we're now looking at turning over some of the claims or some of the jobs that EMA and Alabama National Guard have been doing to more local hires. We're working with the new claims czar as we speak. Jim Walker, the Director of Homeland Security, is working with him on a one-on-one basis. So we hope to have that transition in place as soon as possible so that we can move on to other missions as it relates to the oil spill. You know, what we do with the Guard, we do in every disaster. We're an all-hazards agency. We plan with the Guard year-round, so the actual planning and coordination piece was seamless to EMA and to the National Guard. Anytime we have the opportunity to work with the Alabama National Guard, it's a privilege and an honor for our agency because they're so easy to work with, and as I've said many times, we have the best Guard in the nation. So that part is always an easy turn, but now we have to start looking at long-term effects of the disaster as far as the claims process goes, and that will be best served, we feel, by local hire assets. So we're beginning that initial phase now. There'll be more to follow. Obviously, as the planning process develops into that. But we've touched every municipality in Baldwin County to include the county. We've also got teams over in South Mobile County, Biola Battery. We've worked very closely with Mayor Stan Wright and Biola Battery and basically the southern unincorporated part of the county, Commissioner Mike Dean and his staff, and we'll continue to work until our mission is complete. But we have been in every municipality in Baldwin County. As far north as Bay Minette, and obviously as far south as Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, from Fairhope to Alberta. So we feel like we've covered all points in Baldwin County, and we're now currently meeting with the mayors and other officials, Chamber of Commerce and businesses, to make sure that their needs have been met and make sure that we're at a point where we can look at a transition phase. Little different mission for EMA. We normally deal with local governments and individual homes after disaster. We're now dealing with Chamber of Commerce and business. So same type concept, just different players. So we're Our agency prides ourselves in being able to adapt, overcome, and improvise, and that's exactly what we've done and will continue to do. So we're happy to be here. We hate we're here under these circumstances, but this is what emergency management does. This is what we are and who we are, and could not be more proud of the staff that I have, and obviously the Alabama National Guard. And we'll continue to be down here until the governor feels like that we're at a point where we can transition out.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Quentin Battles, commander of the 1200 CSSB out of Ashland, Alabama. On June 4th, we were alerted by the governor's office and the TAG of the Alabama National Guard, Major General Blaylock, that we had been selected as the command and control element of a task force that would be sent down to support Alabama Emergency Management Agency for the claims process in Mobile and Baldwin counties. We alerted our unit, our command unit of 40 personnel on Friday afternoon that we had been mobilized for the mission. We took Saturday and as a planning day. Sunday morning we sent out a 12-man advon down to Baldwin County Coliseum in Robertsdale, Alabama, to make preparations to receive the follow-on soldiers. We arrived Sunday afternoon on the 6th of June with the advon and began set-up operations to receive our follow-on soldiers. We met with Mr. Sonny Hankins, and he toured us of the building and showed us the facilities, and we began setting up to receive our soldiers. The following day, on Sunday evening, we had over 200 soldiers in this facility and had set up operations to begin coordinating our missions with Alabama EMA and formed the task force for the Alabama Claims Action Teams. Upon arrival here, our advon team began to set up cots out in the main area of the Coliseum to bed down over our 200 soldiers that would be arriving on Sunday evening. So we had that set up. Mr. Sonny Hankins wanted us to use the cots that he had for the evacuees that would, in case of a hurricane or a disaster, if the facility were to be used for that. So he wanted us to use those, all of his facilities and his setup. Once we received all of our troops in and got them organized and accountability of all our troops, we bedded down Sunday night, Sunday evening, had our first contract meals that were set up by the Alabama State Contracting Team out of Montgomery, and it was set up with local vendors that would be providing our meals for each day. Along with our laundry services, we're also contracted with local vendors to provide our laundry services. We continued to improve the facility to meet our operational needs. On Monday, we set up our operations center up on the second floor with our meeting of our teams down on the bottom floor of the out back of the Coliseum. Monday morning, we gathered and met with our partners, Alabama EMA, who are the lead element for us, as our teams would be teamed up with one Alabama EMA person per a 10-man National Guard team made up of our soldiers. So we had ended up with 15 10-man teams that would be canvassing the Baldwin and Mobile County areas, canvassing the businesses, getting out the information about the BP claims process. In talking about the communications of the Baldwin County Coliseum, basically they have over 60 internet drops throughout the building, which allowed us to have internet access to be able to process emails and to just basically communicate amongst ourselves and back to our headquarters. The Alabama Guard did provide a backup internet system, wireless type, with phones, so that we could continue operations and provide the proper C2 of our CAT teams. We have 15 10-man teams combined with Alabama EMA, and our mission is to go out and canvass the businesses of Baldwin and Mobile counties to distribute the information of the BP claims process, to make the citizens aware that if they have a loss, that there is a process that they can recoup or make themselves whole as BP has promised. Each morning our teams will get their mission sets and they'll meet up with their counterparts of Alabama EMA, and they'll dispatch to their assigned areas to make this distribution. They've had great success in that. When we first came here, there was only 6,500 claims, and now this morning's numbers are up to 17,700 claims. So we have made a difference in the awareness of the claim process, of the BP claim process, and I think that those numbers will continue to grow.
The Emergency Management Agency, along with the National Guard, was tasked by the governor to get the word out to our citizens in Baldwin and Mobile County upon the process of how to fill out a claim with BP. Apparently there was some confusion with our public and our citizens that really didn't understand the BP claims process, how to fill out a claim, how to make a call, what type of material information would need to be provided to make the claim. The claims were low of those who had went to had called BP to make a claim. The governor felt that there should be many more claims in the system than it was back around June the 3rd. So at that point in time, he tasked our agency, along with the National Guard, to create teams to deploy down to the areas to pass out the information that was needed and to explain to our citizens the process on how to go about filing a claim, which started with dialing the 1-800 number, which is 800-440-0858, in order to get a claims number from BP, which would be needed for the individual to take to a BP claim center to actually start the process and to request a claim. Today we have been able to reach thousands of our citizens in these communities. We've canvassed businesses, we've talked to individuals, we've set up shops at different type locations, at Walmart, Winn-Dixie, the courthouse, these type places, in order to hand out material to help those citizens get the claims. And we've seen a tremendous impact on that as a result of what we've done here. We know claims in the system has more than doubled as of today, so we feel that what was done has been very helpful, and it's a very good mission that we were able to do.
My name is Major Lisa Pierce, and I'm the Executive Officer for the 1200th Combat Sustainment Support Battalion, or CSSB. We're part of Task Force ACAT, which is the Alabama Civil Assistance Claims Teams here for the state of Alabama, under the Governor's direction, working with EMA personnel as a joint mission in response to the Deep Horizon oil spill, and working with the BP Claims Center. So we've been using this facility as a way to house our 200 soldiers here for anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, possibly even longer. The purpose of our stay here has been, again, in response with EMA personnel, to develop a plan in order to provide assistance to the populace here in Baldwin County and Mobile County. The purpose of that has been, the governor was very concerned about the lack of potential claims that were in process once the oil spill started, that he had actually estimated that there should be 200,000 plus claims put in for loss, anywhere from fishermen to oystermen to hotel, restaurant management, all the way down to the simple worker who might be doing security detail in a parking lot. Unfortunately, at that time, about 3 weeks ago, there was only roughly 6,000 to 7,000 claims in that process, and so that created a concern as to whether or not people in this area, within those two counties, were able to have access to the information they needed. Was that process simple? And so the governor worked with EMA, who basically said, sir, our best option is to bring in the Alabama Guard as a way to really canvass the areas to help people with those particular claims. And so that's really how we got here. Jeff Byer, who works with EMA as the state coordinator, really put that into action, brought his team in as this kind of joint effort, which has never really been done before. It's been done in hurricane situations, disaster response, but never in this type of scenario, so it's new to all of us in that sense. And so what our soldiers have been doing is they have a planning session twice daily where they have been working with the mayors of these local populaces, about 7 to 10 different mayors between the two counties, putting together a plan of how to best get out information to the local populace. And that's been a media blitz. That's been meeting with restaurant managers, business owners to put out that information. They've been going around with a packet that has the BP facts information on it, which shows how to process a claim and what the step-by-step process is. There's also been some mitigation with the BP personnel who've come in and actually helped answer questions for those who may have concerns, who may have gotten kind of caught up in the system and how to do that. So it's been a kind of a three-party joint effort between that. So again, we're still looking at what that timetable is going to be. As you may know, because this has been federalized to a certain extent, and now there's a federal person that's coming in to oversee some of the management, that puts us in a type of limbo about what our next step is. But we'll continue on working in these communities and working together. We very much appreciated the use of this facility here in Baldwin County. The Coliseum has been a wonderful place to house 200 plus soldiers. It's got a large facility. It's got its own kitchen resources, so we've been able to bring in caterers that have been feeding the troops 3 times a day. Multiple shower facilities, a large arena out back, so there's been places for the soldiers to have some downtime to do some recreational items once they get off. So although it's not ever fun, being together all in one setting, it's been very effective for us in a sense of being able to do the operation that we have. So we're very appreciative to the county for providing this facility for us. So, but we'll continue on and continue with the mission at hand until the governor says we're finished. And just again appreciate Baldwin County and the civilian population here in Baldwin County and Mobile County for their flexibility and work with us. Appreciative of EMA for the fine work that they've done and just the hospitality that we've received here from the staff here at the Coliseum and what they do for us.
Shortly after the claims process for BP got started, Governor Bob Riley began to realize that not enough Alabamians were filing for claims. He wasn't certain whether they didn't know the process was available or they were daunted by the process or if they just didn't have any confidence in the process. So he sat down and tried to figure out how we could get this word out to the public. He activated the Alabama National Guard, almost 200 soldiers, as well as team leaders from the Alabama Emergency Management Agency. And our task has been to hit the communities in Baldwin and Mobile County, get the word out, show people what information they need to provide and how they need to get in touch with the claims process people for BP and get the money that they really deserve and need to be able to survive this disaster in the Gulf. This facility is as good as you could ask for to be able to meet the mission that we've been tasked with, being able to house the soldiers as well as the office space that's needed, the operational space, the planning space, the motor pool space for vehicles. It's tremendous. It's centrally located in Baldwin County so that we can cover Baldwin County with ease and be able to accomplish our mission. This is a facility that virtually every county in the state really needs to not only be able to house personnel in an operation like this, but if you have a severe weather situation, you have an evacuation situation where you need to put people up, it's a safe facility, it's large enough, it's equipped with enough technology to be able to meet the mission.
My name is Zakia Darby. I'm a mitigation planner with the Alabama Emergency Management Agency. I've been working here for about 2 years, and we've been down here for a couple weeks now, actually 2 weeks today. Been here helping out, get information out to all the citizens here in the Gulf about the BP claims process. I'm actually working with a team of 10 National Guard members, and we've been going around to different areas. We've been in Orange Beach, Foley, Daphne, Spanish Fort is where my team has been going around from business to business, just letting each of the business owners know and their individual employees know that they can file a claim with BP for loss of income due to slow business or anything that's, a change from last year due to the oil spill. A lot of people didn't know that as individual employees that they could also file a claim. They thought it was just businesses. So we've been also working with them to let them know their employees can file claims. We've had meetings at various restaurants and businesses, retail shops. We actually set up a couple of days in front of Publix out on Highway 59 in Orange Beach so that any of their customers that came in, or also their employees, got information about filing a claim. So it's been pretty productive. We've gone back to a couple places just to verify that once they looked at the information, if they had any other questions or wanted us to come back out, we would always come out and have a meeting with their employees. We had a large meeting at Lulu's restaurant with her employees, which went really well. They got a lot of information, and a lot of them had already filed claims and had questions. A lot of them were getting ready to file claims. So we've actually done a lot of information out and hopefully done some good. We've heard back some of the places we went back and said that they went and filed their claim and talked to a claims adjuster, and some people had already gotten checks. So we're hoping we're doing a good deed out there. And we just started working in Daphne and Spanish Fort the end of last week, getting out some information there, which actually we've had some people that have been impacted so far. The very first thing you need to do if you want to file a BP claim, the very first thing you do is you have to call the 1-800 number, and you get a claims number. It's 1-800-440-0858. You call that number, you give them some basic information. They'll ask your name, your social security number, address, what type of claim you're filing, whether it's business or personal, impact that you've had, and then a claims adjuster will contact you. They'll contact you back with a claim number, and also a claims adjuster will work with you on the various documentation that you'll need in order to get your process started. And you can go to any of the claims processing centers and take that paperwork in, and they will work with you on getting your claim processed and getting everything into the system. They've actually got quite a few claims processing centers in the area for everyone to go to once you get your claim number and start working with your claims adjuster. The addresses, they've got one in Foley, which is 1506 North McKenzie Street in Foley. They've got one in Bayou La Battery. It's on North Wenzel Avenue. The location for Gulf Shores in Orange Beach is actually on Perdido Beach Boulevard. It's 24039 Perdido Beach Boulevard, Suite 1. The location in Dolphin Island is 1008 Alabama Avenue. And the location in Mobile is on the service road. It's 325 East I-65 Service Road, Suite 1. Any of those locations, whichever one you're closest to, you can go in and they will help you with your processing your BP claim. And once you go in there, at the actual processing centers, at the claim centers, you can file up to a $5,000 claim, and they can process that there. Anything above that is what's called a large loss claim. That paperwork has to be sent off to another office for them to process that. But anything $5,000 or less can be processed at any of these local processing centers.
Basically, right now that we have 200 troops that we are down here for support from different units, and we do support, and basically it's the soldiers that's doing the work here. My soldiers are here to support the people out there, and my job is to make sure that they're fed, cleaned, and everything is on track. Facility, we could not ask for anything better. It's been outstanding. A lot of these troops to them, it's being spoiled. I mean, we're used to being outside, we're used to being intense, and this is just like a culture shock kind of. So it's a good thing that, and a lot of these soldiers who's been deployed, this is something new and different for them. So
I've enjoyed my stay here in Baldwin County. We were activated by the governor of Alabama to come down here and to help process claims for BP. I've enjoyed my stay here at this facility. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It's the best place I've ever stayed during the duty. I've been deployed to Hurricane Katrina and Rita down there, and I've not always had the best place to stay, but I couldn't imagine a better place to stay than this.
My military job is I'm a combat medic in the National Guard down here, and although our job is to get the information out about the claims process, I'm constantly thinking about how to avoid injuries down here, making sure that people stay as safe as possible, making sure they're hydrated. We had a heat index of 110 the other day. We want to make sure that we don't have anybody fall out, that nobody gets hurt. If someone gets sick here, we do everything we can to treat them here. If we can't treat them here, we immediately send them out and we get them back here, and we take care of them as much as we can. We haven't had many things happen here, which is it's a blessing. With 200 and something people, to be able to say that barely anyone got more than a scratchy throat is amazing. So that's, in addition to going out and meeting the people and putting out the word, we're constantly doing the military side of our jobs as well, not just with our people here, but in the community. Our deployment here in the Baldwin County Coliseum has been amazing. We each have our own area, well, we each have a little bit of our own area. We're all living on cots. We could be living on the floor or sleeping on military cots in a tent somewhere on an airstrip, but Baldwin County has graciously given us this area. We have an air conditioning, we have showers, we have 3 square meals a day. We're not eating MREs from a box. So it's nice to know that you have a place to come back to and decompress from the day and get recharged for the next day.
This building, talk a little bit about the building. It's a 200-mile-an-hour wind load building. The top is a 6-inch continuous poured reinforced concrete slab that weighs over 600 tons. That's what holds the building down. It'll accommodate 1,988 people 24/7. The building also will accommodate 3,100. You could put up as many as 5,000 for a couple of hours here overnight until the wind quits blowing. It's a self-sustained building. It has a natural flow to the sewer plant, and we have a 1,500 kW generator that we generate our own power in the event that the county local EMA office, EMC office can't provide that. If we have a Category 3 or greater storm in Baldwin County, probably your transmission lines from Alabama Power Company would be blown down, and then we could generate our own power. We have 2 5-inch wells here that in the event that the city of Robertsdale can't provide us water, we just turn off their water, turn ours on, and we're self-sustained here. The building, as I said, would accommodate 1,988 people. That came about by a rule of thumb that FEMA said had to be 10 square feet per person, and Baldwin County needed 1,988 spots, so that multiplies out to about 20,000 square feet. That's what the major floor space is downstairs, and then you have the amenities, both foyers, front and back, the bathrooms and showers and all the things that goes with it. The upstairs was designed for support personnel, and that's what it's being used for here. You have your officers upstairs and your listed folks downstairs. Building works quite well. The building in back is a 22 by 360 foot outdoor covered arena. It's the largest outdoor covered arena in the southeast. It is a 140-mile-an-hour wind load building, and it has a 30-year life expectancy on the steel in it because it's all hot dip galvanized. It's one of the first buildings that they built in the South with that technology, or with that using that. Reason I used it was because of the salt air from the Gulf and from carbon monoxide and other things that gets under the building is so large that that would tend to erode and to rust the superstructure underneath it. So consequently, the buildings, these 2 buildings here, are built for the long haul. We built for the year 2020, not 2006 and 7 when we were building this building. It has a lot of other things built into the building. It has access through the foundation with different entrances whereby new technology could come along that you could apply it and use it, get it inside the building. The building has DSL inside it. It has 66 computer hookups in it. We would have used wireless, but there's so much steel in the building that it wouldn't work inside the building except real small places. So the quality was much better with the DSL. Our local EMC office in Foley, Baldwin EMC provided the power coming in. They provided the generator. And the Riviera, who provides the gas here, also contribute tremendously to our kitchen, gas products in the kitchen. The building has every unit of local government involved. When I set out, FEMA told me in order to be successful to get a grant from them, you had to incorporate all units of local government. And we in this plan, we have a 5013C. That's us, the Baldwin County Cattle and Fair. We have the city. That's the city of Robertsdale. We have a county. That's the county of Baldwin. We have USDA, which is a Department of Agriculture. We're an agriculture program here with the county fair, and we also have FEMA, which is the primary source of funding for this project. As I said, we have EMC, our local cooperative, and we have Riviera Utilities, which provide the utilities for us. There is no other unit of nonprofit or unit of local government that I could incorporate in this building. All the community, the facility has been used by all units of local government, from our local school system to our college program to the county, and many other uses. We've had many weddings here, and we even had one funeral here, so we can accommodate the general public. And as a result of the county commission being involved in helping fund the project, we don't have a tremendous bond debt that we have to try to meet and pay off. So consequently, the cost for using the building is minimal, and that multiplies out to where local people can use it. And that's the good part about this program. Outside the facility, we've talked about the two buildings, but outside the facility, we have a gravel parkway that'll accommodate between 600 and 700 cars. On the northwest corner of the facility, we have 50 RV hookups, which when the carnival comes every year in the fall at the fair, they use it for 10 to 12 days when them coming here getting ready to set up their carnival, and then when they leave, it takes 2 or 3 days for them to stand down. We also use that facility. We've got some locals, some of the military that has their trailers out there this week and last week. They're using it also. And from time to time, we have a gun show here that we have a half a dozen people that come to the gun show. They park their RVs there. It's been a tremendous asset. It's something that we would use in the case of a hurricane. FEMA will use it tremendously. They have lots and lots of those RVs and those command centers that they'll be able to hook up, and we have complete gas and water and electricity and telephone on the sites, 100 amp service there. So it's 21st century RV hookups, and it's a tremendous asset to the facility. In closing, I'd like to thank a lot of people, the Baldwin County Commission primarily, and all of those people that helped us, Ms. Debbie Perry, Kelly Alexander, stay in Houston with FEMA, and especially my wife. She worked here, Melinda, as all of you know. She worked here tirelessly. She's the one who filled out all the grant papers. She did all of the finance work, receiving the checks, sending in the bills to get the turnaround money from FEMA. Had it not been her, we could not have put it together. She did a magnificent job doing that. She was also here this week doing the same thing, keeping the paperwork straight with these people and trying to get it all done. She's the facility coordinator. If you need to use a facility, you'll contact her. I also like to especially thank the board of directors of the Cattle and Fair Association. There's 12 of us on this board. They're from Stockton all the way to Orange Beach, from the Eastern Shore, Fairhope, out to Rosington, Seminole area. They worked tirelessly. They spent many hours. These are unpaid people that come here, spent their time, helped develop this project, did all the things that they needed to do to make it happen. And my hat's off to them.